Oh God,
Oh,
that was.
no.
He's gone. He's gone though.
Angel Hernandez. Are you serious? There's no fucking way. That's terrible. Oh,
Just a
you're
little
done.
thing to kick off the show.
Are you shit? That's fucking terrible. You're garbage.
Yeah, I'm gonna
There's
get
no
demonetized
fucking
after
way.
this one.
Are you?
That's all right.
There's no fucking way I fucking went. That's so fucking bad. You fucking shitting me? Are you serious? You swung. Bullshit. Fuck
The
you.
biggest
That's
thing,
so bad.
Mike,
You're terrible.
is him keep
You're
saying
terrible.
you're gonna
You'll
see.
You'll see.
What is that?
I didn't need to see the replay.
Ejected in the third inning. Throws his.
Thanks,
I
Scott.
don't. Yeah. Well, here's a story with this. So, what's up, Reese? Yeah, I just wanted to get Mike fired up tonight.
Yeah, well, your boy Reese there, our boy Reese there, he
great video the other night, Reese. Good job.
he got some serious thoughts from me on that whole thing.
Well, here we go. I'm at work, so I see I got a message from Mike, Insta message, and I work second shift. I sit down for lunch. We're kind of busy that night, steady. So I pull it up and I see it's a voice message. Mike's never done a voice message to me. So I'm like, what is going on here? This is something going to be great. And I should have put it up here where it gets shared. It's a good solid 30-second rant of him just dropping F-bombs, maybe threatening Angel Hernandez, if I remember correctly.
I don't know about threatening, but
I've never heard Mike talk this way out of joking about us just talking like this about Chicago when we were there and it was 110 degrees. But
so the thing is, though, you got that little message. And the reason I sent it is because I remember watching some of your Scott and Pop Talk Baseball and you guys discussing Angel Hernandez at some point in the last month or so. So I was like, you know what? I know Scott knows about Angel Hernandez. I'm going to rant to him a little bit. But Reese, I think I sent a warning because it was a little group chat with Reese and Ed. And I was like, listen, don't listen to this in front of your kids. And I think Reese probably got like a half dozen or more voicemails. So,
well,
I was not happy at all. I literally had to take a half-mile walk to calm down.
You were walking when you're talking to me. I could tell.
I was pissed as hell.
Today, I don't know how it was supposed to be private till I was supposed to be releasing my video tomorrow. It got released today. Oh, well, me and my dad chatting. I had to cut out a bit of it because it got kind of really blue between me and my dad talking about Angel Hernandez and the umpire, because I wanted to find out where I started looking who was going to be the crews this week, because you can go online and see scorecards on these umpires, because he's not the only one. And my point was with him today, which I cut out, was this stuff with Angel Hernandez and they had West, who they all like cheer. I cheered when he retired because he was pathetic.
He was terrible.
Yes. So when they got rid of when Angel Hernandez, so they let this get by, and these umpires that come up, they have no recourse. They could just do whatever they want, call balls a strike, throw out people for making them look bad on in a preseason game like Real Muto did. Things like that. And it's no it's no recourse for these guys. They're not scared to get fired, penalized because of it. And
he wasn't fired today?
Angel Hernandez?
Yeah, or was that a joke?
It might have been a joke. I did not hear it. Nobody called me cheering. Speaking of Mike O.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I know there was like a fake thing a few days ago.
Is that what it was? All right. I thought I saw a fake thing.
So my thing with it, so for the Phillies, obviously it was a meaning.
Fans are wanting it. They're calling for his head. And it's not just Philly fans. It's everybody's tired of it. But go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
My problem with it was, again, it didn't really matter for the Phillies because that was a game following a clinch. Like it theoretically, all these games meant something for him technically, because if they were any of the teams in the postseason, if you're to advance to the World Series, like it's no longer the All-Star game, it's not alternating, it's best record. So theoretically, even though they're saying, oh, these don't matter, they do matter. They just probably won't matter for most teams. But my problem with it is I'm sick and tired of the umpire, I don't know how to phrase it, like the ego of the umpires, whatever it is. Like I said in some of my rants, I don't remember if I said it in yours or not. Like it's obviously a difficult job. It's incredibly difficult to call balls and strikes, call plays, fast action, and all that. It's really easy to see it from,
What's up,
the comfort of your own home. It's very easy to see it from replays. But like this immediately throwing guys out and being wrong consistently, and then when it's the same guy over and over again, it's like, come on. Like, and the reality is, like, the fans, the people are paying good money to watch the product, and an umpire does a great job when you don't notice the umpire. And then after your game, you go, you know what? That was a well-called game.
Mm-hmm.
But this being the center of attention nonsense is just ridiculous. And obviously,
the best offensive lineman is the offensive lineman. You never hear his name. So, like, I mean, same way with umpires.
The fans, no matter who you are, if you watch and enjoy baseball, you are paying, you're spending money and your time to watch the product and not to watch the umpires. Whether you're attending the games and there were 43,000 people at that game, some people, they only get to one game a year, maybe one game every 5 years.
Right.
Some people, maybe their only time to go see Bryce Harper play, and he is clearly one of the draws.
And this is when I realized that I've been saying it since Harper's been since the second year in Philly. He's grown up. He acknowledges that. I think he acknowledged it as he was walking off the field. He had an OS moment like, okay, these guys came to watch. This is my last game in Philly for the year, regular season. He said, hey, these people probably won't, a lot of them can't afford playoff tickets. They're hard to get. A lot of these people came to see me play, and he threw the helmet in the stands, and then he told security, whatever kid gets it, I'll sign it. But then I brought this up. Harper was fined $5,000 for throwing his helmet to the fans after that.
But, for reckless endangerment of fans.
Right. So my problem with this is, okay, they'll let us know how they treated Harper. We'll never know how Angel Hernandez gets treated.
Yeah, to me, he should. He's just. I don't want to go off on a, I don't want the blood pressure to spike too much, but like I said, 43,000 people paid money to attend that game. Hundreds of thousands of people in Philadelphia are watching the game. A lot of people pay for cable to watch sports. Cable is basically bullshit at this point. If you have cable, you probably want it to watch live sports of your local teams, or maybe you're obsessed with the, battling pretend news networks. But otherwise, I doubt many people are paying cable now to watch the Weather Channel. And I hardly think many people are paying for ESPN. Also, there's tons of people across the country paying for MLB TV, paying for whatever. Like, people are paying money, and it doesn't get – people just think about the people paying to go to a game to watch the stars play. And I get it. From time to time, you're going to have to throw a player out if they act a certain way or do a certain thing. But this quick hook, when you're so clearly wrong, first of all, the home plate umpire has gotten off scot-free. Why that horse's ass even asked for an appeal? Like, that was stupid beyond that. Like, but Angel Hernandez is a jackass because he's just wrong. He's clearly
the crew chief. He's the crew chief.
He's wrong all of the time, and then he's just a jerk about it.
Right.
And there's a video of him after the game, guys screaming at him, and he's just smiling. It's like, that smile is what angers you even more. Like,
he relishes that asshole role, which is a problem. You know what I mean?
No,
the one thing I think where MLB can maybe curtail some of this, for lack of a better word, is instituting like that quick replay, like football does.
Right.
There should be someone calling down from the offices and saying, whoa, nope. Nope. Because like to echo Mike's point, Philly, Boston, New York, whatever, like to go to a Red Sox game, it's like a lot of money. If I bring my kids, it's like close to $1,000 by the time I'm all said and done. And that's not even to like sit anywhere near the field, right? I mean, that's tickets, parking, gas, food, the whole nine. And it just so happens the last game I brought my kids to was against the Phillies and Bryce Harper because he's one of my favorite players, and he hit a bomb. But that, Mike, I totally agree with you. Like that, those guys, when there's egregious calls like that, something needs to be done to keep the player on the field because I'm not there to see Angel Hernandez. I've never, ever gone to a game saying, Joe West is behind the plate today. Let's see what kind of dumbass calls. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't happen. So I totally agree with you on that one. And I think MLB has to do something if they're not going to fire or get rid of or whatever. Again, there's an umpires union, correct?
Yeah, it's very strong. It's stronger than the players union.
So
yeah,
in any organized labor, whatever group, there's grievance processes, there's all types of things. So I don't know how that works, and I actually don't even know if unions can actually grieve one another, but the Players Association should be all over this. MLB should be all over this.
The umpire should not want him involved because he's the type of guy giving them a bad name.
Yeah, I think the rest of them love it because they just say, well, if he can screw up that bad, I can really mess up. I mean, because
who was that guy who was that guy recently that was calling strikes? Like it was just, I think it was Red Sox Orioles recently, and the guy was calling balls and strikes, and the strikes were like a good 2 feet off the plate. And I want to say
there was a guy calling them
mind.
This far high.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like you can't even hit those. They were up at the shoulders almost. And I tend to watch. I'm in that TikTok hemisphere of bad umpire calls for some reason, because I love watching them. And there's a whole Reddit thing and subreddit of umpires and their gradings and all that. Every game, umpires have to understand it. Every game is recorded and scrutinized over, not just for the playing, but the umpiring. If you're bad, you're going to be fun at every in every clubhouse. They have a posting of what umpire is behind the plate for each game and what what they like to call tendency, right?
Yeah.
So they have scouting reports on them, just like anybody else.
The flip side too, right?
Which I think that's right.
In today's world, everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's recording something, and again, to kind of go back to both of your points, you got the first kid at his first game. His dad or his mom or someone sitting there filming that at bat because little Billy's it's his first Bryce Harper at bat or whatever. And going back to the cameras and everything else, like you can see like a gnat on the catcher's ass at 2 a.m. with the cameras and the way the clarity is now. So these guys know everybody is seeing this, and whether or not you're right, wrong, whatever, it's going to come out after the game regardless because they're going to, so I just think there totally needs to be that accountability piece. Listen, bad calls happen from time to time, but when it's consistently the same person making them over and over and over again,
going to be bad calls, there's borderline calls and such.
Right.
But there's like that call, he just made it up. He literally was in make-believe land.
Yeah.
It's one thing if he went and he said, okay, he didn't go, but like he didn't go and he's saying he's swung and he's like, you'll see it on the replay. It's like,
right. You'll see.
What are you looking at, dude?
And let me tell you, that to me is, you say that to me in the parking lot, you're going to see the backhand of my fist. That is a challenge. Right. That is not his place. His place is to sit there and shut up and let his manager get him off the field, not to sit there and clap back. That was uncalled for in so many ways.
Who are you talking about, Harper?
No. Angel Hernandez.
Oh, yeah.
Harper.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if that would have happened to me, I would have done the same thing. And once you're thrown out, you can't touch him because then you're missing games next year. They're not going to sit you out of the playoffs. But you're going to get fined anyway. He got fined. I think it's a bogus fine. That was your UFC fine. That was the MLB protecting their own. I wanted to go back to this. Tim Wakefield.
Yeah,
I think he was 57 years old.
Yep.
I was like, damn, he just retired like last week, didn't he? Jesus.
Yeah.
How long has he been out of the game? Because I was kind of surprised when I heard that age. Like, I know he's been retired for a while, but
yeah, he's been out. I want to say since like
it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But obviously, I'm sure it's been
been a lot.
15 years. But
I think he was in his late 40s when he retired, or close to it. So he's only been out of the game, I think the most maybe 10 years, maybe a little longer. But he's very active. He was with Nesson and the Red Sox and whatnot, and charity events. That came out of nowhere. Like, brain cancer. Schilling outed him Friday, I think it was Thursday or Friday on his podcast. Yep. Because no one knew. No one knew, or people knew he was like kind of like there was something going on. And then Schilling outed him and his wife. His wife has pancreatic cancer. So no one had, and then the Red Sox, like,
there we go. Amish Dave coming in 2011.
I can't believe it was that long ago.
12 years.
It doesn't feel like it.
So it's sad, sad day for us Boston Red Sox fans. Wake was a great dude, great to the fans. I've met him a couple of times. Class act.
So there is one of the fields, and I can't remember that these pitchers, catchers, that there's a connection with a lot of players.
Veterans Stadium, it's happened to a lot of Phillies, a lot of former Phillies.
Well, so
I don't know if Wakefield, I guess he pitched at the Veterans Stadium for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
Right. Johnny Oates with brain cancer. Same thing, and they're connecting it maybe to asbestos or something else at these
something
ballparks.
in the turf.
The turf, right?
Yeah.
I went to the last home opener at the Vet back in the day. Good God, that place was classic. I was like, where the hell am I right now? They were dropping Tug McGraw in from a helicopter, and like it was. I was like, what's going on here?
Right. So sad news. Tim Wakefield, one of those class act players. So I'm glad. Thanks for bringing that up.
Not many knuckleballers in the last 20 years. So he was one of them.
Yeah, him and
Mickey.
And he's
got to be a position player that wants to stay in the league bad enough to be a knuckleball pitcher.
It's a hard pitch. Like, he talked about it and at length over his career and whatnot. And
Bobby Mercer, it's a whole list.
He has the record. I think he won like 16 games in a row or something like that as a knuckleball pitcher, which is still the record. And then, to come back after 2003 when he gave up that home run to freaking Aaron Boone, at which I ran outside and lit my Nomar jersey on fire. And then to come back and that could ruin most guys. You know what I mean? And just solid dude. Sad thing to hear. I think he's got 2 kids. So just sucks.
Yeah. And I mean, his wife in the same situation, but with pancreatic. So thinking about the Wakefield family tonight. Let's see if I can hit the right one here. Let's see. Let's do this.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
So yes, let's talk a little bit about the playoffs. I got a new little toys over here now. So we're gonna have
a new mic. You get a new mic?
No, you can actually see my mic now. Camera's a little further back. I have a new boom, new lighting.
Sheesh.
Just trying
Next
to.
thing you're going to tell us, you got a makeup person off in the corner somewhere.
Come here for.
Jeff Wilson 2.0. Be dropping investment advice videos shortly.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be
five guys going up by Big Scott.
Yeah, so
Invest in the Patriots' backup quarterback. Invest in Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put this up because Mike sent me this earlier. Let's see if I get the right screen here. Yep. Let's see. Mike sent me this earlier because me and my dad were talking. It said all ESPN on the one we were showing, but now we know who's playing who. So Houston ended up winning the division. Is that what happened today?
They did. They swept the Diamondbacks, and the Mariners won 3 of 4 from Texas. So Texas celebrated last night and then lost out. So they kind of lost the playoff series by playing hungover today and not scoring any run.
So here, I asked this of my dad, and also, we'll talk in the chat over here too. Please, anybody, I want this to be a group session. So. Yeah, too many dudes. My question is, so a lot of these teams, even Philly had a playoff spot pretty clinched early. I mean, yeah, they didn't have the X by their name, but they were so far out ahead. So a lot of these teams, not a lot, some Braves, even Houston Tech. I mean, these teams that didn't have a lot playing for coming in, and now they're going to have a week off. Are we going to see like a couple of these teams just come out flat, where these other teams have been having to fight their way in, like the Marlins and some of these other teams? What's your thoughts on that? Are you better with rest than you are with playing? It's always been a football question, basketball question.
Well, I mean, if you're getting a bye week and you're getting Michael Jordan back, okay,
right?
You know what I mean? Baseball to me, playoffs like is such a wild card in any sport, right? Look at the Bruins last year; they steamrolled everybody. And they literally could have started resting guys at the end of February. They were so far ahead of everybody, but they didn't. And they kept going, and it ended up biting them in the ass. Everybody started to get hurt, and they sucked and lost to the stupid Panthers. For me, like I think the American League is actually, I think both of them are actually kind of close a little bit this year. But these teams that are going to start to play now, all it takes is a little momentum, and you're tough to beat. Because if you are the Twins and you haven't had any success in a while, right, in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, you get a big home run or something like that propels you into the next round, everybody's feeling good. Everybody's a little looser. Meanwhile, whoever's the top seed, that's who, they're tight, because they're supposed to win. Baltimore, first time in the playoffs since what? Like, how long has it been?
2014.
All right. So nine years, almost 10 years. So, and most of the core of their team are what? Rookies.
They can't drink.
So that could be scary as well because they don't know any better, right? They're there, and most of those kids are high draft picks, so they've been used to success along their way in their development. But to me, like unless you're getting key guys back, I would rather keep playing. That's just my 2 cents.
Me too. I feel the same way. These guys that know they had a week off, they're trying to pitch as many people they're pitching. It's trying to get as much in. They're going to do inter squad scrimmaging this week. Anything.
Yeah, I think the Braves are doing. They're actually going to have fans in the stands for some simulated games and stuff.
Really, that's pretty cool.
Really? This be pretty cool. But I was showing this. So we got Texas, Tampa Bay. And we also noticed too. So in one part of the bracket, it's like Toronto, Baltimore and like Tampa, like what's going to end up is like the two Eastern divisions could play against each other, and like two Western divisions could be playing against each other. It's to get to the finals. It's kind of weird how it's set up this year.
Yeah, it's not. So it's based on seeding, and the seeding bases off division winner, top division winner, second
Right.
division, third one, then wild card, which is kind of a disadvantage for Baltimore because I believe I don't have the bracket up in front of me, but I believe they'll play Tampa Bay in the next round, and Tampa Bay had the second best record in the American
They
League.
will,
Right.
yeah. So Tampa Bay is fourth
It's not,
in the bracket. Yeah,
it's kind of a possible rough draw for the Orioles. And even with the Braves, like the Dodgers had the second best record, obviously, and the Dodgers are an excellent team. But like if the Braves in the second round or in their first play, like they'll play the Phillies or the Marlins regardless of who wins.
right.
And the Braves are obviously a better team than either of them on paper. But we saw it last year, and like if it's a division matchup, that's not, I don't think, ideal most of the time for teams. You don't love playing your own division. I mean, it's not football with this playbook,
right?
But
you're so familiar with each other because this year you didn't play against each other as much, but in past years you have, and we're not that far removed from last year where you're still familiar with those teams.
Right. Plus, too, the way these guys move around now, there's not a lot of sticking with one team your whole career anymore. So there's certain familiarities and tendencies from managers and scouting and things like that you take with you as well, right?
Right.
So there's I think there's a lot of parity in the playoffs. I don't know if I'd put the Braves that much further ahead of the Dodgers, or vice versa. If someone wanted to argue the Dodgers, or you could argue you know what I mean? You could argue the freaking Diamondbacks could get red hot. They were leading the West at one point this year anyway, weren't they? I feel like in July they might have been leading the West, or at least tied for the West. So it all depends, right? You get a lot of young talent and a lot of young teams right now that don't know any better as far as like, listen, you're just playing baseball. It's baseball. So does the moment become too big for some of these guys? Who knows? But again, they've been in such high pressure situations since they were kids. It's just all right. So you go from your mom and dad and whoever screaming for you to, like Mike said earlier, 43,000 people that are cocked. All right, it's a little different, but I think at the end of the day, I'm just looking at this though, and I'm it's like, just play the division in the playoffs. There's really not anything exciting there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, you're gonna get the Braves, or oh, we're playing the Phillies again. Other than you guys that are fans of those teams that you probably hate each other, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling.
I mean, I right here, I've been saying this. Given the balanced schedule this season, seeding by division is ridiculous. I kind of wish they would go back to their old school of just having American League, National League. If you're going to play everybody, I don't understand what the divisions. You got 4 teams in your division. Okay, what's the big? Right. You beat 3 other teams, 162 games. Whoopee! I mean, you still got 30 other ones. Whatever, 25. I don't. I wish they would go back to that old school mentality. If you're going to seed 6 teams, the only thing that would have flipped would be Tampa would be the 2 seed, right? So you would have the best teams and the best seeds. So, and I mean, this is always the case. I've said it before. 2 pitchers and a bullpen, and you can do something in the playoffs.
Yeah, you shorten the game way down.
Totally different than regular season. You don't need, and in the first round is 3 games. My dad had to remind me of that today. That blew me away. I was thinking it was 5. That's the second round. So, I was totally messed up today. So you can make fun of me if you watch that other video.
Can't wait. Got a comment.
Yeah, you got to comment. But with this one here, Mike said it in our group chat. The Twins are due, right? I mean, they're in this situation. They try to set up to beat the Yankees. Guess who's not in it?
The Yankees.
So, I mean, to mention that, no Yankees, no Boston, no Cardinals. Crazy year. Great. I think it's great for the game, though. When is the last time Toronto has been in? 2014 as well?
No, they were in.
They've
been
recently.
in a couple times
Oh,
recently.
were they? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't feel that way.
They haven't had a big run. They lost last year, I think, to Seattle in the wild card series.
All right.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, I just wanted to put this up. It's easier to see it this way.
No,
The
it's
one,
definitely
the one good thing in the
better.
National League is the National League East is it's going to be a National League East team playing in the LCS. There is no way around it. Marlins, Phillies, or Braves. So if you're a National League East fan, one of those teams are going to be in it. So I can't wait. But let's see. I'm going to stop sharing and talk about it. So I was looking at the Blue Jays, and I've been keeping the Blue Jays is kind of intriguing with all their young players mixed with veterans. They got some pitching. They got two arms. Their bullpen's a little suspect, but do you think they can make a run? Anybody?
Well, I mean, once the postseason happens, it is a new season. Anything can happen. Right. So, of course, they can. It's pretty rare that we get the two top seeds. I think 2020 was the last time we had it, which was surprisingly the biggest playoff field. That was an expanded playoff. Right. And it was Tampa and the Dodgers, who were both at the two best records in baseball. I mean, there's never been a harder time in baseball history to win a championship as a really good team. Because for years, and I know James is in here, he probably won't like it, me saying it, but the Yankees would not have won 27 World Series if this current playoff format was always used. But I mean, that's not taking anything away from the Yankees. They've won it from, so many different decades. But back in the day, two teams made the postseason. Obviously, you had to have a great year, but you also kept your teams together, stuff like that.
Right.
And nowadays, obviously, teams shift and there's so much roster movement. But then now, even if you get in the playoffs, you win 100 games, you got to play that best-of-5 series. You got to play the league championship series. Then you got to win the world. Like, it's really hard to win a championship. Yeah. So it will be really interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm always excited for the baseball postseason. I'm obviously extra excited when the Phillies are in there, since this is only, the 15th or 16th time in franchise history they've been in the playoffs.
Both my teams I picked for the World Series are still in it. I got both my teams from preseason picks in it.
Well, go ahead. We'll see how far you get. But so it's going to be interesting for sure. But, I mean, there's going to be some surprises. And there's going to be some players that open your eyes and some teams that open your eyes. And there's no doubt that the Blue Jays could be one of them. I feel like they've semi-underachieved maybe the last 2 years. They certainly have that offensive talent that can get hot. They have better pitching than a lot of people probably. They don't have, like, those big-name guys that get a ton of attention, at least, like, hobby-wise and such. But Kevin Gossman's been really good. Berrios can be good. So they have a shot. I would like to see Minnesota finally, win a few playoff games and maybe win a series. They're obviously long due. And I think Minnesota's dangerous too. Minnesota and Milwaukee, they're two teams you don't hear much about, and who knows, they could be both postseason by the time we talk next week. But they both have really good pitching staffs.
If Counsell doesn't go down and make the Hall of Fame as a manager, as one of the great managers in this game, because he does it year in and year out with the teams he gets in bubble gum and tape, I think. for the Brewers. I just think he does such a great job there. But this right here with the Twins, if Royce Lewis, Buxton, Correa, I was looking at that today. Their injuries, man.
Yeah, it's all about the health with them.
Yeah.
Because I have a few of those guys in fantasy baseball, and let's just say the continued injuries from those guys may have cost me a chance to play in the championship round.
Yeah, yeah. That. Well, you stay away from Twins players if you know. I think I had Bucks.
Royce Lewis was red hot. He just every time he'll have 4 great games and boom, get hurt.
Yeah.
Games,
How
hurt.
he didn't snap his neck earlier in the year on that
Right.
play at first base, man. Oh my God.
But
I don't
he
know
got
how he bounced
delayed.
back from that.
He got delayed from his rookie year because of an injury, landing for a season. Royce Lewis him and Buxton have been just injury. And my dad said it again today. Your best ability is availability. He says it all the time. If you could be the greatest player, but if you're not on the field, it doesn't matter. You could be great on MLB the show because you don't get hurt on there.
The one thing I'll say though, right, is if these guys can get on the field, we're talking what? How many games are we talking total? If every game goes to the max series,
3, 8, 15, 20,
22, 24
24,
games, 22 games,
24,
right?
24, 25.
So you can if you're in the regular season, right? Some of these guys, if they're dinged up, are going to take the day off. It's a long grind, but
right.
if it's if it's something they can play through, 22 games, really, if you really think about it, and that's a few weeks. The season's over, 1 month, right?
And you'll play hurt. You will play hurt.
Yep. And again, it's the playoffs now, so the stadium's going to be packed. People are going to be losing their minds. It's a different atmosphere. It's going to give you a little bit of, you get an extra little.
These guys will be able to play on adrenaline.
Right. Yep.
So you said the stadiums will be packed, but like I was pointing out today to my dad, 3 in the National League, 3 teams are in it, which it's boring for me to watch games on television because it looks like they're playing in a cavern. Arizona, Miami, and the Brewers. The fans sit on their hands. It's quiet. During the World Baseball Classic, Arizona and Miami got loud inside those stadiums.
Yeah.
So I know it can happen.
Yep.
But it's a different atmosphere. It's an international game then. But, I'm hoping that a little bit of – because I want to watch the games. Don't put me to sleep, please. Please.
But the fans will show up in South Florida. They did during their runs back in the day there. So they'll show up now.
Well,
they were there for the playoffs.
Let's just hope that the Marlins don't have any home games in this postseason. Then I'll be happy.
Well, we'll be in Philadelphia for the first 3, and it should be, maybe 2 games because Alcantara is still out from the way it looks. But I mean, that team has been fighting. I think that's going to be a fun 2 games because to me, the way Miami fought to get in and the way the Phillies have played, I said it before, that team, when Harper came back and that team took on his persona, that swagger, his type of mentality, it changed for him. It was a light bulb going off. You could say all you want about Schwarber being a terrible hitter. What's his on-base percentage, Mike?
I don't know, but it's not bad. I will go on a lot of people, so it's like 50-50 in Philadelphia. It's probably shifting more pro Schwarber, but a lot of people love to complain about Schwarber. I guess it's old-time baseball fans, and they just can't. Mm-hmm. They just see the batting average, and it bothers them. I'm like, but his on-base percentage is like way better than a guy who's hitting 260, so who gives a shit? To me, at this point, he's right up there.
He scored 100 runs this year, right?
You do some sort of ranking, he's one of the better free agent signings they've ever had. He got a 4-year, $79 million deal. He's hit 46 home runs, which led the National League in home runs. And then he had 5-6 home runs in the postseason last year and helped the Phillies win the pennant. So they're right there. Just that one. Yeah, that contract's worth the 1 year. And then this year hit 47 home runs, second in the National League, and second in baseball, I believe, in home runs. Decent on-base percentage. had over 100 walks, over 100 RBIs, scored a ton of runs, and what they don't measure on the box score, he's like one of the leaders in the
Right.
clubhouse.
Yeah, that's what,
Like,
that's what I was going to say. He's
the
got the it
veteran,
factor.
presence. So
Yeah, well, they got him. That's why I brought him up because he's a guy. He's a dude, as they say.
Yep.
And then you got of course Harper, then Castellanos. I mean, and the other guy that turned it on the second part of this season, me and Mike's talked about is Trey Turner. Trey Turner is back to being the guy that he was at the Nationals. He does it in the field regardless, but man, when he plays,
Actually, forgot he was in Philly.
when he hits, man. Well, he don't have to be the guy there. Then you still got Stott and Braum, and that lineup not only it's a long lineup that will hurt you all the way.
That's a pain in the ass lineup to pitch to.
Right, and that's why I picked them to win the World Series this year. The regular season is fun to watch. The Braves. I know Carlisle's happy. Well, I actually seen a comparison of Roger Maris and Ken Griffey Jr. today numbers. So, made you at least think about it. Piss moan about Schwarber. I'd rather have Schwarber than a player like Gallo. Yeah, because
agreed. Agreed.
He's another player that's hurt right now. So when I was looking, I wanted to bring him to Phillies, Marlins, Brewers, Diamondbacks. Brewers are just a steady team. Diamondbacks are struggling. They kind of backed you to the playoffs.
The Diamondbacks, I thought, would be a really dangerous team in the playoffs, at least in that short series, because they have Zach Gallen's right there, one of the top 3 pitchers in the National League. And Merrill Kelly's one of those unheralded, underrated guys, but he's been pitching really, really well. But now they're going to have to pitch games 2 and 3, and they just had such a poor performance against the Astros. And I get it. The Astros were playing for something. They're obviously very good. They've been really good for a long time. Cheating or not cheating, like they're just a damn good team. So the Diamondbacks really backed into the playoffs in a way I didn't really like. And I get it. Like they clinched the playoff spot last night, and I get celebrating, but it's kind of, I don't know.
Well,
you don't have to go too crazy with the whole like when you're coming off of losses. It's kind of, I don't know. I think Milwaukee's got a really good starting staff and a shutdown bullpen, and their offense was pretty bad in the first half. Their offense has been way better in the second half.
Red hot.
A lot of good young
they
players.
Added little parts.
Carlos Santana, he's like that veteran that's making a huge difference. I think Milwaukee's going to win that series, but then again, the thing with these short series, literally, it can come down to, one guy, your starter doesn't have it one day, you're in deep trouble. One reliever has a bad day, it can hurt you big time, and or a bad play in the field.
Well,
so who knows?
One day I was looking at their depth chart today. So they have 6 guys. They were the only ones that have 6 guys listed as a DH. It's on their depth chart.
Who's this?
I was like,
the Brewers.
And I was like, oh my God! I thought the Phillies was a slow pitch softball team lineup, but my God,
good God.
So I was like, you have 6 guys listed as DH in your depth chart. I mean, like Kanha and some of the other guys play different positions.
He's been really good too.
Well, he was playing good with the Mets. I mean,
he's been I think a difference maker for them.
Oh, okay. Well,
giving him some numbers, but he's had some big home runs. So the Brewers are better now than they were earlier in the season, and that's the point of making deals at the deadline is to improve.
Yeah, they made little things middle.
You don't hear much about them. I think they're incredibly capable of. If they win this series, I think they're very capable of beating the Dodgers. The Dodgers are good, but the Dodgers. It's going to be hard for them to win 3 consecutive series with the starting pitching they have, with the lack of
Kershaw's
they get out of their rotation. The
Dodgers are certainly beatable. I have a hard time. Honestly, I think the winner of the World Series comes out of if Philly makes it to Atlanta. the Philly Atlanta series is the eventual winner of the World Series.
Yeah.
One of those two teams. Just generally because I don't like any of the AL teams, so I could care less, you know. But I think that there's the Braves are loaded.
Their offense is incredible.
Like it's insane. Like they're loaded.
Well, that's
tied the record for the most home runs in regular season today.
right.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Matt
unfortunately,
Olson
it's Marcelo Zuna, who
right.
Right.
He actually did help me down the road. He helped me in fantasy, though. I guess, hey, Marcelo Zuna. Who would have thought you'd say that line, right? He helped me in fantasy.
You got Olson, who's just crushing it, and kind of I don't want to say forgotten about, but I mean you're playing on the same team with Acuna. It's tough to get the limelight away from that man.
Dude, they got Austin Riley sitting there. That's a friggin' stud.
Austin Riley is probably one of the most underrated guys.
Yeah, he's
I
my
think
favorite non-Red Sox player.
Third base. You watch him field third base. He is eye-opening for the size of man he is.
And he hits the piss out of the ball, too.
He does hit the piss missiles, as you like to say. So I think National League to me is a little bit better. I'm the same way. I am really pulling for the Orioles, though.
Same.
Childhood team, and also with the young players, Gunnar, Adley Rushman. Their coach will probably win American League Manager of the Year. Gunnar Henderson, I think, has a chance at Rookie of the Year.
I think he's probably going to win it.
I think so. He had a great second half, and usually that's the part that the voters will think about. Him and Corbin Carroll. Tampa and Texas, I think we're going to probably see Tampa playing the Orioles, and that's going to be a great series, I think.
Has there been any updates? You guys pay attention to stuff.
No,
any updates on Wander? Yeah.
No, they won't say anything to the offseason.
Yeah, all right.
Which is probably not good for him, but
yeah.
My thing is it's not going on in this country. It's going on in another country. So it's kind of like, and that country's kind of known for its bribery stuff going on.
I was gonna say, whatever, if that probably helps him in a way of being able to continue to play baseball. I think his reputation for a little while is if he is in fact found to be whatever, his reputation will certainly be, diminished, and fans everywhere will be all like when he comes up to Boston, New York, or like Philly or someplace, he's going to get lambasted. But I don't know. I've never liked the Rays. I don't know. They just don't do really anything for me. I'm not a big Blue Jays guy. Rocco Baldelli's a Rhode Island guy. I get to watch him, when he was younger playing baseball in Rhode Island and things like that. He was phenomenal. So, kind of a little bit of interest
home
there.
run in the World Series.
Yeah.
Back in
I'm going to pull for the Twins because I was living in Iowa. That's one of the teams that were up there. Also, I like to see somebody that hasn't done something do something like the Twins. They got a great fan base. They got an awesome stadium. We get to see 3 games in that stadium.
Whoever's playing the Astros, that's obviously who I think most of the country will be going for, right?
Will be America's team.
Yeah. I would love to see Baltimore make a run, though. That would be cool. But Houston's sitting there. They're still the big dog until somebody beats them.
The Orioles manager or somebody in their main office said that Baltimore is a year ahead of schedule, which is awesome. They won't expect this till next year. Because y'all talked about it. That's why I talked to JD before. JD has, if you go back to his older broadcast where he was doing baseball, y'all talked about the gentleman that was on your channel.
Who, Adam?
Adam is an Orioles fan.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how young and great that pipeline is. Yeah, this young man right here at Kajersteig or whatever hit a home run in his first at bat. You got Jackson Holiday. So they're gonna have to have a either deep wallet or ready to make some moves probably in this off season.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
get
from
some
the
better
sounds of
pitching.
it, they've got quite a logjam of talent.
Yeah.
And a number of outfielders. Obviously, you can only play 3. They're going to have to figure something out, right? Because at the end of the day, pitching is what wins, and everybody's looking for pitching. So
You saw it at the draft, and then you saw it again at the trade deadline.
Yeah, except for the Red Sox, they drafted for like the 10th straight year a shortstop. So good for them.
Well, when you look at the first couple of rounds of the draft, I was watching it live on here. It was either pitching or shortstops. And the shortstops is the athlete. None of those guys will be shortstops. Catchers, center fielders, a relief pitcher, something else. But let's talk about what we're about. We're baseball card collectors. We all dabble in other things, but baseball cards is where we love. It's where we're at. Childhood growing up. This playoffs, is this a year that a pitcher could step up and be collected?
Oof. You won't let those pitchers die, will you?
No. Because
I don't think
they're
so
players
either.
too. They're like NFL kickers. They play the game as well. I mean, they're
it's
on
just, but the chance to repeat that magic is usually 4 days away, right?
Right.
So by then, in ADD America, we've already moved on to like 5 other things. So there's no shot. There's no shot.
Because
unless it's your team, with right?
20 strikeouts or something like that. I'm sitting there looking today. I know at one time Zach Gallion had a great following. At one point, I think he's a guy that can maybe, if he, steps up and carries Arizona. Let's see. I'm trying to think who else. I mean Burley
Spencer Strider has a few huge games.
Strider, yeah.
If he has, a 17 strikeout game in the World Series, I could see him getting a little boost because has a recent rookie card. But the old veteran guys, people just like Zach Wheeler's been fantastic for the last several years for the Phillies. I love picking off his low numbered stuff on eBay for $3, $4, $5 a card.
Because
he's not really collecting the
Aaron Nola's going to go for a buttload of money in the all season.
He might be a target of the Orioles maybe because they're going to need pitch. Who knows? The Orioles don't have any like Grayson Rodriguez maybe as a young guy. Like I feel like if someone gained attention to the hobby, it's going to be a young guy who has because the veteran guys have just been there, and it's like, I mean, look at the Astros, how good Framber Valdez was last year, and nobody cares, at least in terms of the hobby.
Right.
Tampa Bay, if they go far, if they win, it's going to be on their pitching for the most part, but they just have a collection of good pitchers. They don't have anyone that stands out hobby wise.
Right.
The Marlins.
Verlander, right? I mean, his rookie card
his rookie will have some sort of collectability, Hall of Famer, but
Corbin Burns. I was big on Corbin Burns for a while, and I had it in my head that this was going to be the guy that changed the pitching market, and I'm happy to report I was wrong.
Well, I thought Baltimore would have that closer that would get some recognition in the playoffs, but he's out. He's hurt. That monster of a man. I just don't see it. Trying to figure out too, could it be a bust out player just anywhere in this playoffs? Are we seeing a more team game, or the players we know or who they are? I mean, Harper's Harper. You've done JD a great one on, we know where players are. They have to exceed that for us to really put them on the map. If y'all haven't seen that, another great video with JD talking about that.
But Harper doesn't get enough love in general, right? And again, I know I'm like in the fan club of him, but
me too.
Man, that guy, he just doesn't get enough love. and he just plays. You know, I mean, yeah, whatever. But I don't know. I just don't get it. Like he's so good,
Mhm.
and he's been around forever.
And he
And
carries
people
the
forget
Phillies.
that. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe Christian Yelich can go on a run and undo the damage he's done to his hobby in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
You never
that's
know.
Dude. Great
yeah,
point.
that's one. You know,
I mean, there's the young
West
guys
Coast
like the
teams-
Orioles. The Orioles young guys could reach a more mainstream level of being known because I'm sure the
Right.
average baseball fan is like, oh, the Orioles are good again. Like they're still
Right.
looking for Cal Ripken, you know, like.
That's
I
true.
mean, it happened a couple
Losing
years
the-
ago, right? With the Astros. Perfect example, right? Pena.
Mhm.
Perfect rookie comes in, wins the World Series MVP.
Right.
You know, and then his market went pretty hot. You know, another Rhode Island guy, by the way. And so
I can
sure,
tell
it
with
could,
the name of Pena.
yeah. Well, you know, but there's
The
certainly
Rhode
that
Island Penas.
anybody, yeah, anybody that gets hot and has an epic run in the playoffs. Certainly, you see their cards. You can see. I think you see their cards take a rise. But I mean, as far as like,
that's how Randy Arozarena really got
Right.
his
yeah,
name out there in terms of being. You know, I think there's a good amount of people who collect him. He obviously is not. He's not someone who's going to go for a ton, but like that's how he put himself on the map
Sure.
and to baseball fans and baseball card collectors was that insane run in the postseason. And then obviously he's continued to be a really nice player, and he's actually stayed on the Rays for a few years, which is refreshing.
yeah, no, that's a good point. So I think, and Mike, you brought up a really good point too with like the Orioles. Unless you're like a baseball junkie, like the three of us are, and you're playing fantasy baseball, you're collecting baseball cards, and baseball's kind of like part of your life. The
You're
average
like
every
me
day.
today going, oh, it's the last
Yeah.
day of the regular season. Literally, as every game's going to ninth inning, clicking through MLB TV, being like, I might as well make the most out of it.
And it's like so, but like the average guy or the average collector out there may not see Adley Rutschman play, and if Adley Rutschman hits a huge home run and whatever, that who's this kid? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, okay, he was in the All-Star game and you know had a pretty good performance there, so he kind of has a name. But there's a few guys that, you know, certainly I think so.
Well, I don't know if the country knows who Mountcastle is. Ryan Mountcastle.
No, they don't, and he's a good ball player.
Right.
He's a good ball player. I mean,
Uh,
Corbin Carroll, for all we know, could announce himself on a national stage here. Who knows?
Well,
right?
me and my dad had a conversation. I know you talked about it too. Corbin Carroll, out of this young group, not just rookie group, but young group, with the talents that he is showing,
No, he's a stud.
Can we pencil him in to the Hall of Fame 15 years from now?
Oh,
20 years from now.
I don't think he can do
He's
that.
got a long way to go.
It's a long way,
I'm
man.
just saying out of the group. I'm not saying that it's a slam dunk. I'm just talking about this because let me tell you, you can't teach speed, and speed doesn't have letdown. You know, it doesn't slump.
Well,
If you
it
can keep
depends,
those
right?
legs, right.
Right. If he keeps his legs, right, you like a perfect example. A guy like Buxton, what's his best attribute? Speed.
Well, you can hit too. I mean,
Yeah,
but
he
certainly not
can. But
health.
so right.
not
So
help.
can Carroll though. Carroll can hit.
Yeah.
He's a little bit undersized. When you
His
think
arm-
of guys
he's-
that are hitting
he's
the
a
ball, you know,
he doesn't have the arm strength. He
Which-
needs a cutoff to get to the cutoff.
yeah, he's like
I
Johnny. He's like a little Johnny Damon in him with his
Yeah,
arm. Whatever.
yeah, he does remind me-
Manny will cut him off out in the outfield.
Manny
good.
will. Yeah, I do. That's a good comparison for that type of body type as Johnny Damon. And Johnny Damon had a great career, but I think Corbin Carroll, I mean, when you can hit and steal, I mean, he's got the capabilities of being another 40-70 guy with Acuna. I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
Don't put on some weight, man. How old is he?
Sheesh.
How old is
I don't
he?
know, man. No one. It took how long for someone to do 40, 70?
Well, you know, I read some.
You've got Corbin Carroll now penciled into the Hall of Fame and doing 40, 70
pencil,
in the last
pencil.
5 minutes.
Pencil. Well, I'm just saying, you know, somebody poo-pooed a 40-70 because of the bigger bases. because they didn't have bigger bases 40 years ago.
Oh yeah, well, whatever.
So the 40-70 thing, I was like,
You still got to be fast.
and you still got to hit 40.
Yeah,
That was a lot of guys stealing bases, but it won't a lot of them doing it. Ain't getting 40 home runs.
Right.
Okay, let's be real.
Hey, Ricky stole a lot of bases back in the day.
Right.
Ricky
was Ricky. I know, but Acuna, that was special this year. I ain't gonna take it away. I think the using the clock is a benefit for runners, and you can only throw over twice. Is more of a benefit than a little bit of bigger bases. Vogelbach wasn't stealing bases. It was a joke in a commercial. He didn't steal a base this year. So let's be real about the bigger bases.
I mean, I think some of that too, right? With I don't want to get off topic of cards, but the brain trust of baseball is trying to make the game more appealing to the youth, right? And the youth can't sit still. So sitting there for 5 hours at a baseball game is a lot, right?
Right.
But if they've cut down the time of the game's a little bit faster. That kind of helps, right? I mean, baseball at a lower level. You and I have talked about this at length. Baseball and the youth level is got a major problem on its hands with lacrosse in the springtime. Lacrosse is killing baseball.
Well, my thing with baseball, if you look at a game, there's plenty of kids in the crowd.
Yep.
And what helps with the kids is the parents that watch the game. They might not sit down and watch it in the household, right?
Right.
But it's on. It's in the background.
Sure.
We had, when I was an older teenager, that's when we had the super stations. The Braves were on in my house every night.
Same. Yeah.
And guess what happened when I moved out and got my first house? The Braves were on every night because it was, unless it was the ESPN game where I could watch the Mets or somebody else. I just think, that's the bigger thing. Yes, lacrosse and other sports, more action sports. And I hate to say that, but, might grab attention. But, man, baseball, those kids are serious about it now. It's year-round.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, too, right? Like, everybody's a superstar at age 6, and they become my kid's a soccer player. He's going over to the Premier League.
Good point.
My kid's going to the NBA. He can't do anything else. When in actuality, the more sports you play, the better you are. As far as, but what do I know?
Right. Yeah. I've heard many of the older ball players say that they played other sports to be better, got them better in baseball. They were more focused.
Look, Coach Prime, baby.
Yeah. Well, Bo, we could go on about that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And welcome to the Pac-10, which last season, but welcome to college football.
Yeah.
So let's see. I think also the West Coast, this is their time to shine. A lot of us on the East Coast, even Central, don't get to see much West Coast games. I said it last year. Will Smith is one of the most underrated catchers in the game. I just did you see this little comment here? Yeah, I guess good one. That's my own personal opinion. Take it or leave it. But anyway,
I mean, he certainly has the ability again, but it's a long haul. You got to
right. Oh yeah, I know that. I'm not senile yet. I'm just got gray hair.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this because you guys are veteran collectors. You've been in this for forever. You haven't taken time off like I have. The prices and the bounties and all these other things that we're seeing right now.
Don't like it.
Thank you, Mike.
Duplicate superfractors.
Yeah, like I just
the bounties is a force to drive sales.
Yeah, man.
I mean, once in a while, it's nice to have something to spark some interest in something, but if it becomes too
Bowman
much
Chrome.
So like last year, doing the MVP stuff, buyback from Top Chrome to help a product that, let's be honest, was dog shit. Not a whole lot better this year. I think that's a benefit. But those are, you're collecting cards that are valued at $20, $2 to $20. The $100,000 bounty's a little ridiculous.
They're coming in. They're bringing their people. They're having ideas. I don't think it's a bad idea to have Babe Ruth first card, retro card, or Johnny Bench.
No, I don't think so either. I kind of like it.
But the secondary market puts the bounty on it to drive up cases of card prices that they have. And also, it's a little ridiculous when I look and I go, oh, they have a Johnny Bench auto, which I've already told them I'm not buying anything but I put watches on it because I think they're going to sit. I'm not paying $1,000 because it's number to 5 for a Johnny Bench.
Right.
I have a number to 5 Johnny Bench sitting right there from.
Plus, you can get an autographed Johnny Bench rookie card instead.
Right. For $1,000, I can get, or you know what, our buddy Jericho Michael has. He has the autographed glove, the same type of glove Bench wore autograph. I'd much rather have something like that than an autograph 2023 Bowman card.
Right.
That pricing makes absolutely no sense to me.
But
I mean, I think it's so.
But the idea is great. That idea is great. Just the secondary market is crazy.
I mean, I'm a little more intrigued by guys who didn't have and I get it because I'm Tom Brady collector and fan, but like when I heard they might do an exposed Tom Brady first Bowman, I get it. It's some manufactured bullshit. Obviously, he was drafted. A lot of guys are drafted, never played, even in the minors, never signed. But like I was like, oh, that's actually kind of neat. That'd be kind of a fun little thing to chase. I don't need it to be super rare. I do think the retro first Bowman refractors are still cool because I like the old players.
Yeah.
I mean, Babe Ruth has definitely had so many cards,
right,
playing days and, the modern day stuff. And I'm like, it's a little sketchy.
Agreed.
But
that Brady will be big in Bowman draft at the end of this year. That is going to be. Whew.
I'm not a Babe Ruth collector, but if I was going to buy a Babe Ruth, I would buy a playing days for that money than I would a Bowman first card.
Sure.
Just doesn't make sense to me.
Now, do you guys think with the bounty that they've offered, or I shouldn't say the buybacks, sorry, not the bounty, the buybacks, I kind of think that was a good move because I feel like if that had just been Topps pre-Fanatics, you'd get like an autograph of like Nick Asaski as a replacement, say my bad.
Well, I know that Chrome, when they did the buybacks last year in the Chrome, my LCS said that saved them because it was just sitting on the shelf before they decided to do that. I mean, they made a mistake of sending those, not having the stuff in the box that started all that, but it was crap. I mean, and then the top.
But I'm talking about the Superfractor debacle, where there's 90 in this Bowman Chrome. There's 95 cards that have been identified as having 2 Superfractors printed and put into packs.
Okay,
and
I didn't know
Topps, that. Yeah, and Topps came out. Mike? What was it, like Friday maybe?
I think so.
With like a list. So if you have like the Big Scott Superfractor that is listed as a dual, there's a set price that they are going to pay you to get that card back.
But it's only the first one, so it's kind of like, hey, you gotta be the first one to do it.
Yeah.
So the reason they're doing it, so I know they usually print 2 in case it's damaged, then they can replace it. I understand that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
it's supposed to be at the company it's supposed to be there and then destroyed,
And when they make it out, it's a backdoor issue and all that.
Yeah.
To have it actually make it in the packs. I mean, what?
I don't know how it happened.
Well, it got through somewhere.
I mean, they've had their share of mistakes early on, for sure.
I know what I also read this week. The whole thing now that it looks like, on their own breaking channel, they're packing the cards in the boxes to pump up their own breakers to make it look like their stuff is stacked. I don't know if y'all seen that either, but I can believe it after open Chrome.
I haven't looked into it.
But after opening Chrome and seeing a bunch of Chrome opened with my friends, I could believe it because that stuff, the best thing I saw was that Volpe from Mike Fabian. The rest of us really didn't get much of anything.
So if you pull a
You call my
Feldman,
green refractor of Nick Castellanos nothing?
Well, it may be something to you.
It's a solid $2 card out of a $400 box.
crazy. Like if you pull the Ethan Salas, the catcher there for the Padres, that's been playing since he was like 15. If you pull the superfractor, that's a 75. Well, it's pending. $75,000 Tops will give you.
Oh, so Topps is doing that, and so people are going out and just probably buying cases of this right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I got a
so
box
like,
sitting on the floor back here. Should I open it?
Well, I saw logo refractors are out, and I have yet to see a box of that in a store.
Apparently, they're exclusive to the MLB store. So unless you live in New York, you ain't getting it.
Yeah, you didn't get
Last year, they were available on Topps.com in a limited supply and the MLB store. This year, so far, it's been just the MLB store. So the same people are going there every day buying them up and jacking the price up.
So then there was I saw this morning on Facebook in one of the baseball groups. Rainer Arias, prospect for the Giants. Someone bought.
You see one someone bought?
Yep.
Yeah.
$2,000, bought it 2 days ago or whatever it was, 2 or 3 days earlier this week, prior to Topps and Fanatics, whatever, announcing this program. Buys it, it's shipped, it's being shipped to the authenticator in Florida or whatever. The buyer, is it the buyer that went in and canceled the transaction or asked it to be intercepted or something like that?
I think it was the seller, because when Topps put out that they were going to pay $10,000.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, the seller. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the seller put in a claim to have the package intercepted, because now that card is going to be able to be bought back from Topps for $25,000. So that guy spent 2 G's and he's going to make 23 grand.
I say I'm calling shenanigans because
big time.
Why is Topps doing this? Who cares if 2 number ones are out there? They've said it, so who cares? After you made it public,
right?
Who cares? Now that box or cases are going to be so expensive to buy.
If you go to Scott, I'll send you the link later. But if you go to Topps website, you can see the buyback tracker, and a number of them are already pending. So there's not many left.
Okay,
but still, there's
one out there. People think they're going to get that one. How many people buy boxes thinking they're going to open and get that one refractor auto, and they can retire off of it? I mean, that's just. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. That is crazy.
It's crazy because I was Mike. Did you get your box from the store? How do you get do you get an allocation? How does it work for you?
What, Bowman Chrome? I had pre-ordered a couple from Topps.
Okay.
I opened one, and the other one I just have sitting around because I got destroyed on when I opened.
Yeah.
That Topps Chrome is just redonkulous. That was. So is this Bowman Chrome you're talking about?
This is Bowman Chrome, the new Bowman Chrome release. Like literally been out a month.
I mean, at some point, to me anyway, the super refractor, I've talked to Mike about this, or the 2.5 or whatever, when those prices start going up so big, I want to go, I have the card, it's just in a different color, or it's the base. It's the same card. And then all of a sudden it went from $2 to $2,000 because it's got red on it and a number on the back. Just doesn't. It's crazy. I know it should be more, but not what's happening.
I mean, a hobby box, $300. I mean, that's not
bad.
That's not crazy considering.
No, that's not what. I mean, I think that was about what it was to start with. Wasn't it?
Probably right about that.
Yeah, 308, 305. That's not really that bad. I mean, it's still crazy. But I mean, in the grand scheme of inflation and everything. But hey, you hit one of these things and you get a $5 or $10 payout. Not bad. Not bad for 300.
Yeah, that's a good ROI.
Right? You know? Yeah. Christ.
Yeah, but then you think if it's your first box you ever open, that's the way everybody.
Yeah.
That's where people got killed, and it started out during the COVID time. Buying a case, they were buying it for what, $30 cheaper a box, $40 cheaper a box than what it is now. Some of them are $100 cheaper than what they are now. In baseball, not football or basketball. Oh my God. But and then they'll hit something, they're like, oh, this is the way it always is. And then they find out quick.
Yeah.
It's not like that. But I think with the playoffs, baseball, it's very we talk about it. The fall is exciting. We got football full swing, baseball. We got hockey next week starting, basketball right behind it. If you're into that type of thing, if you like that stuff,
no, big time, big time, baby. Although I'm out, I am after last season. I am officially still on strike from the Boston Bruins. I have not. I can't get over it. I can't.
That was a hard. They played themselves out. I mean,
I don't even want to talk about it. PTSD. Right. I refuse to talk about it. I just can't. Right. 6 years old. I've been dealing with this crap for 36 years. I've had it. So I'm on strike, and I'm on strike from the Red Sox until this offseason. If they don't open up their checkbooks and sign some people, I've had enough of that too. So
I don't think there's enough free agents. So you might be on strike for them for
another year. You know what, Scott? I could very well. It's okay. I'm going back to watching the Braves like it's the 90s.
There you go. Turner South.
Yeah.
Well, any last words on the playoffs or hobbying or anything from either one of you guys?
Just excited for the playoffs. I love the baseball postseason. Phillies involved. We'll see what happens. I think they are good enough to go on and win the World Series, but I also think the Marlins are tough enough matchup that it could be a quick exit. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things evolve.
Right.
It's not probably the draw that most Phillies fans were hoping for. Marlins won the season series from them. The Marlins game 1 starters Luzardo. Game 2 is Braxton Garrett. The Marlins were 4-0 this year in games when those two started against the Phillies. They're loaded with lefties. They got like 6 or 7 lefties on their staff. So I don't think Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Stott, those guys probably won't be facing any righties in this series.
Yeah.
But they're obviously, they got the experience last year. They got a taste of it last year. So I'm hoping for good things with them, and I'm just intrigued to see how the other series play out. I mean, Milwaukee, Arizona's not probably the series. Honestly, looking at the first round when we were looking at that, I was like, baseball's probably not thrilled, or at least the television networks, I should say, because I don't know that any of the first-round series are huge TV draws. I mean, the Phillies-Marlins got the primetime slot each and every day because there's no Yankees, there's no Dodgers in the first round. Right. Obviously, there's no Mets or Red Sox. Phillies, Philadelphia is a big market, and of course they got
a huge market,
national exposure last year. The Marlins are kind of not a draw for TV ratings.
Whoever wants to see the Marlins is going to be at the game.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be fun. I mean, Texas, they're back in it again. They obviously had one of the better teams in baseball for the first half and held on.
Yeah, that's a good baseball market too. Minnesota, Toronto, good baseball markets. So I mean,
Tampa Bay's in the playoffs all the time, but they don't draw. But I think the next round's where it's going to be. I think it'll get even a little more national attention because you're going to have Baltimore back in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Dodgers and the Braves.
And people hate watching Houston.
Yeah, people will tune in to hope that the
Yep.
Astros lose. So.
Yep, 100%. I would like to see some type of run by a team, playing in the wild card round. That would be cool. I do think, though, that ultimately, the end of the day, I think the champion's coming out of the NL, whoever that is. I just have a hard time seeing the Braves not winning the World Series. But, again, that's why you play the games, right? Anything can happen. So that's that. I mean, the American League doesn't really excite me. I would like to see Texas make a little bit of a run. But at the end of the day, I'm very intrigued by the Orioles and seeing, some of these teams, like, being a Red Sox fan all my life, they sucked for most of it. Right. And it was Heartbreak City and it just sucks. And then they've won enough now where it's like, all right, they've won. So, all right, they suck right now. So it is what it is. My football, the Giants suck. The Bruins suck. The Celtics seem to be loaded. So it looks like I'll be watching some basketball. Man, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be exciting for sure.
4 games Tuesday, 4 games Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it gives you something to do during the week when there's nothing on TV, right? So it'll be good to have sports all week that matter. So that'll be cool. You don't have to watch like Iowa State play Iowa in a Thursday night college football game.
Well, if there's a Miko Card Shop,
Iowa,
it will definitely be early this week. Miko Card Shop, definitely off the air by 8 o'clock. 8:08, you got Philly Farms.
How's that going to work? Right. Well,
we'll either do a quick one from 7 to 8 or maybe 6:30 to 8. We'll see. To be determined.
Right.
Unless somehow I end up with tickets to the game, then forget it.
Yeah, forget it.
Well, that's, you could sell cards at any time. I have to work second shift. I dread it. The guys at work have been making fun of me. So they know I'll be in some corners sometimes with my phone.
Yeah. I can go to the bathroom again.
How about radio? Can you listen to the radio or no?
Well, I can have my phone in as long as nothing is flammable open. I can listen to it on my phone. I'll have it playing on my phone. So, and they all understand. They know once playoff baseball come, any playoffs, I have it on. So, hockey, baseball, football.
Hey, you got it.
They're all like, yeah, turn it on. Baseball, they'll ask me what's going on. They're not big fans. So, but anyway,
it's all right.
I'm still looking forward to it. I'll be, next Saturday I'm off. I am going to a card show at the Single A field down the street. They're having a card show at the stadium, 150 tables. Interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, half a mile away from me. So, but
nice.
That night get to watch.
You can walk to that one.
What? Walk? I got a car. I paid for it.
You could go.
I'm not walking in this neighborhood. Between here and there, I wouldn't be walking. I'd be a light jog.
Listen, with Natsman and his new business venture, you can rent you a limo and take you there. Because he's probably got a table set up to sign autographs.
Yeah, well, I was hoping Natsman get on tonight. Check him out. He's got his stuff all over the socials in his new venture.
He's everywhere. He's on billboards. He's everywhere.
You might sit on him at a bus stop. So until next time, thanks for hanging in there with us tonight. Enjoy some great baseball. Mike's showing off the tee. And just we'll see you next time. Till then, hey, for you, Ed, see ya.